Yo. Today we gotta talk about something because the person who got me Strangers of Paradise, great dude by the way, good friend, he told me this game was fun, but I didn't think it would be this fun. So today, we're gonna let our minds wander and talk about Final Fantasy Origin, Strangers of Paradise. Lock in, and let's get to talking about this. Alright, so I can sum up Strangers of Paradise as the interim between Neo 2 and Neo 3. I'm just saying that off the bat, so when I make my combat comparisons, it makes a lot of sense. The game was developed primarily by Koei Tecmo, so it kind of makes sense that I would say this, especially for those of you who have played Neo 1, 2, and the more recently released Neo 3, so you get that. I just want to say off the bat, as a Final Fantasy fan, I feel like if they're going to do an action RPG that doesn't piss off everybody for some really weird reason, like FF16 did, even though that game was really good and fun, I feel like this is the other way to go about it. I still would prefer having some type of aerial combat option akin to how Neo 3 does it. That's really good there, and I feel like this game could heavily benefit from something like that, or a sequel could, where they base it around Final Fantasy V and they do it like that. Because this game is based around Final Fantasy 1 and the retelling of that, or more so the retelling prequelment of that. I'm still like in the story still, but I do know like a quote-unquote heavy spoiler because Jack's name is Jack Garland, and spoiler warning, if you've ever played Final Fantasy 1, you know that Garland becomes Chaos. So, you know, Chaos is Garland and Jack is Jack Garland, who then becomes Chaos, so you get the idea. So with that, I want to go into the combat aspect and say this is one of the more interesting takes on what is and isn't Souls-like combat, because this is definitely Souls-like adjacent. It borrows from the R1 attacking, the dodging and deliberate movements, but it plays on the fact that if you know that, you know this is also made by Koei Tecmo, who made Neo, and Neo, while a Souls-like in practice, in theory and execution, it's not exactly the same and is very different in the way they handle shit, and I like that a lot. It's very unique. It's got its own je ne sais quoi. It feels fluid, fast, and dynamic, and this game is very fluid, fast, and dynamic as well, but a lot of weight to some of the attacks you do, and the full burst system, and like just crushing your enemies like into crystal to get more MP is really fucking cool too. I like the style switching aspect of it. That feels like the precursor to Neo 3's switching between Shinobi and Samurai. Like, it really feels like that. And in this game, you do like skills. Like, you do like skills in your fucking like Muso combo string that you can edit, by the way, with more skills that you get as you play. Like, you do skills within that, and then during said skill, you can animation cancel to switch to your other class. And it's officially in the game. It's not a mod or anything. I'm playing this on PC officially, and it switches to the other class and allows you to essentially go through that and then go into your next class and you can attack, and it's really fucking fun and cool. And you're probably wondering I haven't talked about like Jack as a main character or any of the main characters. I like them. Like, I like the party layout of Ankh, like, you know, just chill black dude. We got Ash. We got Final Fantasy character Jed, which, man, they really rattled that boy with the name Jed. And then we have girl, Neon. It's kind of fucked up that I have to call her girl, but like, that, like, personality-wise, that's kind of what she is. And, you know, Jack Garland is the straight man. He's serious, but he does make a couple of cracks wise a little bit here and there. But I would have preferred if we had a CAC in this game to really be in the spirit of Final Fantasy 1. I would have liked that more, but I'm still fine with this party, especially since there's a mechanic that lets you overlay any of your party members' designs onto Jack. I chose Neon because Presea from Tales of Symphonia had opened my eyes to Dainty Lady Big Sword, and I think that is like peak RPG aesthetic. It's fucking hilarious, it's cool, it's badass. Like, you just get to watch this lady with a sword 4 times the size of her body and probably even 4 times the weight of her bone mass and crush someone's skull in with a great sword. It's cool. I also played Jeb and Ash earlier on, but when I found out that Neon gets access to a cloak with a hoodie on it, I was locked in. I was locked in on her. I was like, yeah, nah, I gotta only play as her. Hoodies are peak. But yeah, I spent most of my time playing as her, but even then, I still pay attention to the cutscenes because I've been playing in sub this whole time, which when I booted up the game for the first time on PC, it just kind of, it defaulted to the Japanese dub, so that's what it is. And hearing Kinjiro Suda, you know, Seto Kaiba, for those of you who watch Yu-Gi-Oh! And the JP dub, you know Kenjiro Tsuda as Seto Kaiba. So do I. But I also know him as Ryuga from Beyblade Metal, which is really fucking funny to hear Ryuga like this. Even Kaiba, really. Like, I think about that character and I see, like, I hear them. But it's cool to think about them in this light and just, like, interacting with the party and hearing everybody. And I think, like, it's a really well voice cast for, like, the sub. I need to hear the dub. The JP dub is really good, but I need to hear the EN dub also to really, like, gauge and match everything. But I think it's pretty solid. And again, I think the gameplay is really tight, solid. The level design isn't too bad. It's not Souls fuck you die. It's not Neo's there were 3 people waiting in a room to gank you and violently murder you with, like, burst attacks and shit, like in Neo 2. No, it's nothing like that. I feel like the design of the areas is somewhat akin to how even Final Fantasy 16 or Ninja Gaiden, like, 2 and 4, mind you, Stigma 2 and 4 handled things. I think I have my issues with Ninja Gaiden 2, but I find it funny that, like, leaning into Ninja Gaiden 2, the weapon classes have their own, like, weapons have their own unique fighting styles that don't change between the classes you get that go from, like, basic to advanced to expert. They don't change like that, but then you get access to a range class known as the, like, Ranger, where, like, you use guns and shit. I have no footage of it, by the way, because I don't even use it, because the way the game plays, it doesn't, like, have the same button layout as Neo. So, like, when you go to shoot, it pulls up what is essentially, I assume, the same script as Neo 1, 2, and 3 for, like, shooting a gun, and most likely even, like, carried over from Ninja Gaiden 2's, like, bow script that they used back on the 360, and I found that really funny, but I just wasn't fucking with it personally. I would have preferred if it low-key borrowed from Dirge of Cerberus with a little bit of gun kata. That's just me. I like that. What can I say? But yeah, like, I think the level design's good. It's really solid, but I think, like, the visual aesthetic of the game, it's a lot darker and dour because of, like, the fact that you are hunting down chaos and the crystals are still corrupted by this darkness. So, like, all your outfits are dark and edgy and shit like that. And, you know, Premier Edgelord Enjoyer here, I think it's good. I think it looks fine. And, like, I gotta say, the areas do look genuinely beautiful. Like, the tower you climb, really fucking pretty. Oh my god, that tower is beautiful. So far, like, one of the best looking areas in the game, in my opinion. Look fantastic. And the characters still look like, you know, CG movie Final Fantasy characters. They still feel like Final Fantasy. They still look Final Fantasy to me, and I like that. Again, I prefer to play as Neon because Dainty Lady Big Sword, and she's just, like, she has, like, my favorite outfit choice in the game so far. Like, she's got cloaks, hoodies, a bandage that goes over the eye. Like, she looks great. But when I first met her, she looked like a Nier character, and that bugged me the fuck out, and I was about to start screaming, Yoko Taro, what the fuck have you done? But now, like, just, like, I chose her, and I think she's my preferred aesthetic. Like, I say, like, in order of, like, characters I would visually want to play as, I think it would go Neon, Ash, and then Jed. My issue with Jed purely lies in the fact that his name is Jed. Y'all couldn't give him a better name. What the fuck, guys? That feels mean. He's a nice guy. You know, like, the party bounces off each other really well, the gameplay is really fun. And, like, so far I've just been having fun, like, gaming the system. Like, one of the classes is, like, a job advancement of Dragoon, which, if you're a Final Fantasy veteran like me, you know that, like, Dragoon is, like, the height of the Lancer class. You hear Lancer class and you think, oh, a Lancer's gonna turn into a Dragoon. Okay. Then there's an advancement of the Dragoon class that gives you Zantetsuken, which, if y'all know Final Fantasy, Zantetsuken is like Odin's big fuck you screen divide kernel ass you die attack, and it does a shit ton of damage. And, like, I've been going back to the first stage to test out how much damage I can do at a single blow. So I got, like, the Dark Knight class, which lets you use Soul Eater, which exchanges health for damage, and it runs off your MP like an install timer. And then I use the Lightbringer Burst DT mode. It doesn't really change how you play. It's just, like, you kind of get infinite stamina you get infinite, like, skill stamina for a while. And, the skill, I think it's called Lunatic. You use I stacked all 3 of those, and I, like, smacked the shit out of him with it, of, like, the first boss with it on, like, that first stage, and it did, like, a shit ton of damage, and I was like, oh my god, that's ridiculous. And I just want to see, like, how far back I can go to see, like, how much I can do in a singular motion. And, like, that's the point of, like, the gameplay system here. It's very Final Fantasy in its design philosophy, because it lets you game the system to your advantage and how you want to do things. And I think that is in spirit of what Final Fantasy is. Let the player be creative with the battle system and let them do whatever they want whenever the job system is in play. When the job system is in play, let the player go nuts. And I can't wait to see what more I get. And I'm probably going to talk about this more on streams, like just how I feel about playing the game and like how much fun I had using it. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to talk about today was, Stranger's Paradise. I think I got everything out in the most autistic and scatterbrained means necessary. With all that being said, I'm a Wandering Sosuke. I want y'all to be easy, take care, have yourselves a damn good one, and of course, as always, stay gold and let your mind wander. Jonah.